Uh, am I looking like Stuart Broad right now? Well, that was not the intention, but I can see myself on the camera. So, friends. Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about England's World Cup squad. Let me just, before starting the video, just let me see if I know the team already. Let's start with the J's. Josh Buttler, Jonny Bairstow, Joe Root, Jason Roy. Then Ben Stokes and Chris Woakes, because their names rhyme. Adil, Rashid, Moeen Ali. That's, I guess, 8. Mark Wood, 9. Reece, Topley, David, Willey. That's 11. Livingstone, 12. Sam Curran, 13. Atkinson, 14. And is it I've already named David Willey. Yeah, David Malan. So is that England's World Cup squad? Just let me check. That is indeed England's World Cup squad. So guys, I remember the England squad on my fingertips and it's there in my head. Now why do I call it the best squad? First of all, the very fact that I remember the squad. I guess Atkinson is someone who's just started playing international cricket, but if you look at the rest of the names, they are, I guess, in the department, their respective departments, they are the best. Okay, now many of you will say that New Zealand is giving England a tough fight in a home series. That means in a series that's being played in England, and that's right. They are being given a tough fight. But let's not forget that New Zealand is a world-class team. Is again a World Cup, one of the World Cup contenders, I would say, and definitely one of my top 4. England, Australia, New Zealand, and India, just like the previous World Cup, previous 50-over World Cup. But the question here is, why do I think England are the favourites? At least on paper. And I say this again and again, on paper, because on the match day, what will happen? Maybe surprise performance from the opposition might come and disrupt England's chances or fortunes. But why do I say on paper? Now let's look at some facts. First of all, let me discuss the 4 J's, the 4 batters who've been playing in this squad. Josh Buttler, I'll begin with the openers, Jonny Bairstow and Josh Buttler. They were the opening pair in the previous World Cup that England won. And in many matches, they've posted huge scores. And even in the semi-final, Jason Roy was very good. So I don't doubt this pair, especially in Indian conditions. I guess, and adding Josh Buttler to that equation, Josh Buttler will definitely, I know he will come in at number 5 or 6 or 4. I guess 5. If Ben Stokes is batting 4, then Josh is at 5, and I think he should not come lower than 5. But he adapts so well to any situation that he can bat at any number, and he will play according to the situation. Now coming back to the 4th J, that is Joe Root, world-class batter. Haven't seen a real decline in his form, although he's not played that many IPLs, but he has test double hundreds in India. He knows the Indian conditions really well. He plays spin really well, so don't have any doubts with that. David Malan has shown consistency, so yeah. And Harry Brook missing from the squad was a bit of a surprise, but after all the players that England managed to get, it wasn't that big a surprise. Now Livingstone, I don't think Livingstone is someone who has changed the way England have played cricket, but he's someone who can who can win the game from impossible situations. Even in the second one international, the 34-over match between England and New Zealand, the way Livingstone played, I remember he scored a 30 or 40 ball 100 against Pakistan in a T20 international a couple of years back, or maybe last year. So Livingstone is someone, plus he can bowl off spin, he can bowl leg spin, so he certainly gives the team much more than a utility player, a match winner. Then the spinners, Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid. Adil Rashid is definitely one of the best wrist spinners, one of the best spinners in the game today. Moeen Ali is not just a spinner, he can bat at practically in any number, and he can win the match with the bat or with the ball. Same goes for Sam Curran. And Chris Woakes and Mark Wood. You saw how Chris Woakes and Mark Wood's entry into the Ashes turned England's fortunes around. And what David Willey and Reece Topley do with their left arm angle is, see, many teams these days are discussing whether they should play left arm or have at least one left arm bowler in their squad, and left arm bowlers have troubled right-handed batters from all over the world, especially even the Indian batters, the Indian top order batters. And Reece Topley and David Willey's swing is prodigious on his day, and David Willey with the bat, even at numbers, whether he bats at number 9 or number 8 or number 10, he has scored a T20 century, and how fast he scores runs, everyone knows. Okay, then Gus Atkinson, I'm sure since he's been picked, he doesn't have that much of international experience, but if he plays, he will definitely, with the kind of atmosphere he is in, he'll definitely flourish. And who else do we have? Who we have not talked about? David Malan, obviously the guy who has shown consistency over the last 4 or 5 years. And the last player, I think, who we have not discussed till now, is the one and only Ben Stokes. For me, I've said it many times, Ben Stokes. When Ben Stokes was not a part of this World Cup, for me this World Cup was like, yeah, fine. But now that Ben Stokes is there, I think the World Cup is alive. I always say, willpower, the name is Ben Stokes. Now, again, when I say on paper, I'll not go in deep into statistics, but in the last 4 years, England have won 2 ICC tournaments. There have been only 3 limited overs or white ball tournaments, ICC tournaments in this period, and one has been won by Australia, the other 2 have been won by England. Now, Josh Buttler, Ben Stokes, Mark Wood, Chris Woakes, Adil, Rashid, they were a part of all both these tournaments, and since they've been there, they've done that, and in different conditions. They won the 50-over World Cup in England, won the T20 World Cup in Australia. So, since they have done it in different conditions and they are used to Indian conditions, I don't doubt England going all the way. And Ben Stokes, see, what happens is, I'll again discuss this in a different video, that there are teams with star players, and England is one with star players. England's batting, I think, can post 450 or 500 runs in a match. I won't be really surprised. Even in the World Cup, I won't be surprised. The way they bat, the way they just go for everything from ball 1. And in Indian conditions, if they get a flat deck and mediocre, even an average bowling opponent, they will score 400 plus, 450 maybe, because they bat really deep. Bowling, I guess, in Indian conditions, David Willey, because of the natural swing that he gets, Mark Wood because of his pace, Chris Woakes because of not only his accuracy and his swing, but also because of his ability to read batters, and Sam Curran with his slower balls, and if he gets swing on any of the pitches, they make a good quick bowling lineup. And if you talk about spinners, Adil Rashid, the best, has got the best batters in the world many times. I don't even need to mention the names. Moeen Ali, again, someone who's done really well, and he's got a lot of experience playing under MS Dhoni in IPL for Chennai Super Kings, so he knows a lot about Indian conditions. And Livingstone will also chip in with a few overs if he figures in the 11. So whether it is batting, whether it is all-rounders, whether it is medium pace, and Josh Buttler's captaincy, guys, he's already won an ICC tournament. He's already won a World Cup as a captain. and this entire team, most of the team has been a part of at least one ICC World Cup. They've been part of at least one World Cup winning team. So that makes England, I guess, my favorites for the tournament. My prediction, like, how much percentage of a chance does England have of winning the World Cup? England has a huge chance, but obviously I'll make another video of it. But of the 4 semi-finalists I mentioned, New Zealand, England, India and Australia, I think if I have to distribute the percentages among them, I'll give England 35%. And I would have given that to Australia, but just because Ben Stokes has come in, and Ben Stokes is the one who takes England past the tough situations in big matches. He did it in the 2019 World Cup final. He did it in the 2022 T20 World Cup final. So I don't doubt Ben Stokes doing that again because of his mental toughness, and just because Ben Stokes has come back to the tournament, and he is someone who takes things on his shoulders. I think he'll make sure England gets past any sort of challenges in the knockout phases, be it the semi-finals or the finals. But again, as I said, on paper, this is on paper. As an Indian, I want India to win, and I cannot think of a better squad, more balanced squad than this. If you, I can compare it. I can literally compare it with Australia's World Cup winning squads of 2003 and 2007 when they were unbeatable. But England will get beaten. They'll get beaten in at least a couple of, if not in a couple of matches, at least in one match in the group stage. And Australia, India and New Zealand will all challenge them. So let's see. This was my video. This was my take. I just want to know what are your views. Love you guys. Take care and let me know.